Welcome back to Tiling Forest, where we go into the second layer of the puzzle. We've solved the initial map, but now we gotta cover it all up with the flowers from the little stumps. Some of that I've already done at the end of completing the first pass of the map, but that's nowhere near everything we need to do, and those bits might not even be correct. This is supposed to be like the challenge version of this demo, so let's see what I can do with this. So the rules for the flowers is that they come from having the two tree stumps. Two tree stumps that have arrows facing each other. If they are touching road from both sides, they will make the entire road covered with flowers until they come upon a lot, and that's what breaks the flower pattern. But we know we need the lots in order to fill spaces. This was a lot previously, right? Before this level was solved. So needing to switch to the stumps immediately breaks how this area becomes solved. So now that we don't have a lot down here, we've got to think about how else do we rearrange this place. Can we do this without having a lot at all? I don't think we can, because the main problem with this area is that, yes, it has roads coming in the middle sections, and without a lot, you're not able to fill corners. A replacement for not being able to fill corners with lot, of course, now we have the stumps, right? So we could have a stump facing up and down, and then it's possible to have a road in the middle. However, having two pairs of stumps along the same path means the rule no longer works. Then the flowers become little buds and the rule is broken. But having placed that, I can now see that we can fill this area with a lot, and then we do have a solution for the area, and we do have flowers coming out of the both sides of it. That then brings in flowers into the next area here. But this one has 3 roads coming out of it, so we have to think about where the roads are coming in and out. This is an end area, so we can possibly rearrange it with stumps, or we need stumps coming in from this side. So if we wanted to stick some stumps in here, it would be like this. But then we have this road coming through, but we would need to... Yes, now it's not possible to solve it, because we can't place a lot here, because it would be here and then there is nothing here. And if we place it at the back, we'll just have a road here and 2 empty spaces, right? We can't do that, which suggests to me that likely the flowers have to be coming in from another area. Like the stumps would be placed somewhere here for the road coming in. This requires a lot more experimenting than the original solve, right? So right now, this could come back to the original solution with just having 2 lots. As far as I understand, this would be fine, because the lots just don't count towards needing flowers, right? So as long as this road here has flowers, we're all good. However, this makes this level awkward, right? Because now we have this dead end here that we won't be able to fill in, and then we would have to have a lot like this, but then that immediately breaks here, right? Because now we're back to this empty space. We could have stumps, but then we can't have it with those stumps around here, right? And that would mean we have to rearrange this. But not having those 2 stumps here would make this level impossible. So that is likely not the solution here. So from the original learning about stumps, we've had the stumps, a couple of them placed like outside of the levels, and then we knew we had to match a stump within. So I'm wondering if there is things we can do ourselves where like the stumps exist across different areas. Because here, there is a road that's surrounded by 2 tiles, right? So if we were to do this ourselves, like this, yes, that counts towards the road being between stumps, and it still gets flowers. Presuming we can still fill this section here after this, which actually doesn't quite look possible, because we have an empty here, but we once again seeing... There's a road between 2 tiles that we can place, right? So we could potentially just keep this going and have stumps happening wherever we see this sort of situation. So we would have a stump here and a stump here covering up this road. And this road goes up to this section. And actually looking at it now, it does feel like every road coming into this section, the stumps will have to be external to this area C5 because there is just no arrangement we can make here to have stumps on it and still be able to put a road between them, right? Because we're locked into the central square being what it is. So we have to watch out for, yes, where on the outside of this can we place the stumps for the roads coming in. But let's look at this section then. Now that we've placed those stumps here, is this area solvable with just those stumps? Not with just road, but we can just have a very big lot? Yes. Yes, we can, but that means the flowers for this road down here have to come from somewhere external. And this goes through another flat section that won't be able to have stumps, which means we would have to start it all the way in this section S2. So that's curious. That's a pretty big section, so there's a lot of possibilities here. So I'm wondering if we should maybe switch to some other area for a little bit. The final area, N6, right? We got the roads connecting the lots, and I'm pretty sure those counts as something that needs flower, which means we need to rearrange this whole section to have less lots and somehow incorporate flowers into the road, including this end bit here. So this is solvable with having just 2 lots like this. And therefore, if we had road going through like that, we have 2 spaces for the stumps up and down here. And that takes care of the 2 in-between road sections, but it doesn't solve this. And I'm not sure there is a configuration where this works with stumps, so we might yet again be looking at doing it across this road. And this road is quite long, like outside of any levels. And it goes through a couple places like here and here, where there is a join we could make between 2 levels, or even here and here. But this is not possible because of the central area. As I already said, there is no way to place stumps here, which means we would have to do a stump here, which actually means it invalidates the solution here because the stump will have to be another way. So if we clear this off, that's how we can place the flowers for the final area. But that means we need to resolve those 2 levels. I mean, we already needed to resolve this one because that corner road here would have never worked with the stumps. So now we gotta resolve those 2 areas and figure out where their stumps are. This road coming in here already have stumps on it, but this whole section also needs resolving because this road going around on the outside is also not filled with flowers. So we can't have this. Right now I'm just deleting lots of things. I regret it. Since we have stumps here, and we are required to have stumps here because one of them is outside of the level, we can't edit it. Can we fill in this section with as much road as possible and only use a lot at the very end? Yeah, there we go. Because now it all counts. Now it's all good for the flowers. Would be nice if we have flowers coming into a lot, then the lot becomes a little flower bed or something like that. Would be pretty. I guess it's supposed to be a path, not a flower bed. So then we have flowers coming into this N4 section from this side. But we know we need a lot in it. It doesn't work without a lot. Because this corner, you can't put a road in it and then come out. So it could be something like this. But then we still have a problem with some of the corners. So this road likely needs to come into a lot. Because, again, it comes in not in a corner. So it can't turn both left and right. So this section needs to be a lot. And then because of this hole here, this is solvable if we do this. Then we have the stumps up and down here, and that takes the flowers up to next section. Okay, so that's this sort of ending path filled. Now let's look into this area. It has a single stump now that's serving this middle road, but it may need another one for whatever road we have here. Looking at the fact that the road goes in the middle. The first time around, this was an indicator that we need to use a lot to fill in both the sides, but now we wouldn't be able because of this other stump here. And therefore, it is another place we need to potentially use more stumps. In that case, then, we take a path through. then we can either do this. Oh, but we need a lot here because as much as road would go perfectly around the whole place, we obviously need to end somehow, right? We need a lot to finish off on. And we can't have the little road bend here. So where would this lot fit? Like, we can't use a 2x2 because then the road doesn't join. If we have the road sneak around here, then it's able to come in here and then we do an ending lot. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so we've flowered up a few sections, but yes, there is still a lot where the flowers are not even touching. If we go back to the bottom, we know we have mandatory stumps here because this one is outside of a level. So this is how this road is going to be flowered up. But we need to do something here for this road because there's actually quite a big chunk we're currently putting flowers on with just those two stumps here, right? This goes through this entire section and here. Except this end kind of looping section, that's definitely incorrect. So that cannot be like that. But in that case, it feels like potentially we would be having stumps somewhere on this tile because it requires a lot to be solvable, which means we have to break the connection it has with the previous stumps. But let's see what other solve we can have here. So road-wise, we can have various options going through this corner. And if we go down here, we could end on a lot here and then have a little 2x2 here. But yes, this is where, therefore, we could fit some stumps. And this is now going to fail because there is two on the same road. But we can break through this because this space just can be entirely turned into a lot. And then that breaks through the path, and then the two pairs of stumps are not interfering with each other. Except for that bit where I don't even know whether those stumps are correct because we need to do a rearrangement to make this road here work. So this road here comes out into the middle. So it's either something to do with a lot or with stumps. If we place stumps, we get this awkward top corner here that we won't be able to fill. So it cannot be stumps. We have to do something with a lot here. But that just brings us to the same problem of what goes on this road. We can solve it with just a road like this, because that leaves us with a 2x2. That can be a lot. But then this section has to somehow have stumps, which, as far as I know, yeah, it only has one spare tile that we can use rather than two. Like, yeah, we could just go do like this, but then that doesn't solve the problem. Well, there is a piece of road, again, running between two puzzle areas, right? I'm kind of watching out for that to see if it helps. Because, yes, we could go for this and this, and that fills in this section of the road and would therefore fill up this whole place, including all the way up to this road. But that then presumes this section will be solvable with that corner there. We also don't know where that section gets flowers from yet. Well, with that stump in place here, what can we do about it, right? How solvable is it? So we have to go like this, and now I'm just kind of have random holes in places, so that doesn't help. If we rearrange some more... So it definitely leaves us with gaps on this section, but I'm getting 3 gaps, which means it's not just a pair of stumps that I can just place into somewhere here. And I have to take into account that the flowers could be coming from this section. Could be stumps and a lot, or something like that. Because actually, we could have just a big lot here. And then that road goes through here, and then we are ending up with 2 holes. And that works for that section. But this section then is flowerless, connects to this section. Have to figure out how that all would come together. This, however, it's now getting flowers from all 3 directions, right? So we want to put in all those roads, but we want to have a big lot in the middle to also disconnect them all from each other, because otherwise it will fail. And also we need a lot because there are 3 roads, so we need to make the junction. So what kind of lot will it be? Well, we know this road has to come out either straight or go around here. But then how would those two connect? There could be a case for like a 2x2 filling this area and then this coming in. But then we'll get a hole. So possibly not that. A lot filling the entire bottom. Then we can have this road come here. Yeah, but this road needs to turn down when it comes in. Yeah. Okay, so that lets all of those three roads connect without the stumps overriding each other. The bottom section and this kind of southwest line looking kind of okay, but many gaps still remain. So let's go to another ending section, because I feel like working from basically somewhere where the road ends is making most sense to me, at least for now. We'll see how it develops. But yes, looking at this whole area, we have flower comings in and then terminating, which again, for this section, that will likely be what we want to do, because there are 3 roads, so there are lots involved anyway. So then how are the 2 other roads getting flowers on them? I'm immediately looking at the fact that, yes, there are 2 sections here where a road runs between levels, so there's a possibility of stumps. However, I don't think this E1 section here can have stumps on it, because that would prevent it from being completable, right? If we stick one in the corner, then this road won't be able to run at all, and on this side, we will end up with an empty space. So that section is probably, we don't need to touch it. Like, changing anything about it would break it, which means we're not putting stumps on either of those sections. So would any stumps fit in here? Like, if we went around this... No, the stumps would go here, but then we still have single hole. This road is guaranteed it needs to turn up at when it comes out. We can snake this up like this, then we get a single hole. So that would correspond to having a stump, like I was talking before, between the 2 sections. But I didn't think it was possible because of the bottom part, right? That would give us flowers here, but then what happens here? Like, what we do with this corner? Unless we have more stumps here. Like, yeah, we have a corner there, and then we have another couple stumps here to fill this in. Because obviously this stump is not providing flowers to this road. And then it would go like this. But then what's happening here? Right, we need to be able to fill this space. Oh wait, we can just make a bigger lot, right? Because it will connect. But that then leaves us with this empty. So actually, I was wrong before, and both of those areas get a stump each. Okay. So then it means we need a lot here that will break the connection between those 2 paths. Otherwise, the stumps are going to interfere with each other. Because even if we were able to build a full-on path here, right, that would break. If I just stick full-size lot, have a road come in here, have a road come in here, that works, right? Everything's happy. Everything's got flowers through those 3 sections all the way to down here. So I only have to worry about this road coming out. Where does it get its flowers? This feels like it's all gonna be network or flowers, right? Because we have to send flowers up here to go for this thin section up to this corner. We gotta send flowers to this, and we gotta send flowers to this section. So in this section, like, I was thinking there could be a stump here and here, but that leads us to, again, awkward corner that we won't be able to fill, right? Because the road would be going through here, and then we have 2 empty spaces. So that doesn't work. If we just have road, then it fills the space. But that would mean there needs to be stumps here or here. I don't think it's here. I don't think we can do much, like, if we replace this lot space, unless we, like, change this whole level. So I would rather go with rearranging this first, rather than trying to figure out how this changes when it's already connected to other stump areas. So not here on this entrance, because there is no room to put stumps. So this road will come out, likely go down. Could have stumps here as this comes in, but then what's happening here with this corner, right? This entrance. Because of, again, we have 2 sides around it, a lot or stumps are likely, but then we're left with a corner here. Like, what would be here? Because even if we went, okay, well, it's just more stumps, what goes in between them, right? That doesn't work. So this is out. So it comes to a lot, or it comes to something like this, and then this other space is filled I think as we did have it previously. Alternatively, it just comes out to a big lot. But that doesn't help with the stumps at all. What else we can draw in terms of roads? Because that puts us back to stump here and here, right? But then what's here? More stumps? Huh. Didn't I just dismiss that for a reason? So yeah, we have a stump here and here. No, because then this corner is an issue. So I was not crazy. I was like, this doesn't work. If we change this road, right? Because I was like, oh, it definitely goes down. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes like this. We do get an awkward corner, but then stump here and here. And then what? It goes around, but they can't connect. So it has to go to the lot, and then it comes out through the lot. Okay, that still works. There's still flowers everywhere, but we didn't fix this. There's still a road that just goes through, no flowers whatsoever, which means this area is wrong. And if this area is wrong, there is a possibility that those sections I've done here are somewhat wrong, and we're gonna have to be going back and changing where the stumps are. So we know we need a lot, right? It is required for the free road connectors and for disjoining the stumps with the flowers. But we know we also need stumps on this road if everything else is to be confirmed. Like the lot feeds best somewhere here, but it could be a couple different sizes. There is also an option for lot down here. Because then what can we do? We can have this coming here, potential for stumps, but then this would have to snake around and we get a hole. Plus then we can't have stumps here. So that doesn't work. Because this road would just come in like this, so that's fine. It's just, yeah, how would I make this connection work? So let's assume the stumps will go here, right? That deals with this section here. But what's going on here? Like, I can't have a road go here. Oh, but I can have a road go here, and I'm left with a 2x2 and just lot this? Okay. Okay, well, the entire bottom is looking pretty good. Other than this, I guess, now. Because, yes, it had some stumps that work, but then it has a path that doesn't. So what will need to happen here? Because we're forced into those lots here by the fact that those two top edges are there by default. And we're forced into those stumps because this stump is also a preset tile. We can't delete it, right? So this has to be like this. And then this road, there is therefore not enough room to have stumps here, so it has to be coming from up here. I'm already eyeing the fact that this is the case, right? It's immediately giving me stumps on both sides. So far that has turned out to be a pretty good thing to try out. So yes, that fills in this road, but then we need to rearrange both those sections and see if that works out. So how solvable is this now? It actually solves fully with just the road, and then we can continue the flowers. Then here we could go around, but I think, yeah, we will need something for this section. Like, as much as it makes the flowers go all the way up here, I don't think this works without a lot as a solution. I mean, just purely seeing from the fact that, again, a road goes in between two sections, so there has to be something here to account for the corners. So normally a lot like this would be a solution, or a slightly bigger one. But then, what's this, right? We can make this junction, we can make this junction, but that leaves us with 1 or 2 spaces. Well, with 2 spaces, that's obviously now been an opportunity for stumps, but then we have 2 stumps on the same road, so either that's incorrect or we need a lot, which, I mean, this section is solvable with a lot. So we would have to redo all this with a lot, which seems pretty doable, right? You can have a lot here to connect this, and then there is enough room for a road to snake, and then both of those work. But then we don't have any flowers coming in here, so a bunch of sections to rearrange as well. I think starting again from the end, like, we're gonna have to figure out how we get flowers to this end section through here. Because again, because this is going to the middle, this road, the stumps are going to be not in the central section. They're going to be either in this tile or even further into this N1 area. So let's see, do we have any opportunities for stumps between areas? Because it seems like this game really likes that, right? Like, if there is an opportunity, it wants us to do that, but the only one I see is this one, and I'm already assuming there is no stumps in this middle area because then it just does not work. Or does it? Actually, if we switch this, then we can have that. Then the gaps are filled with a lot here and the road joins here. So it is actually possible to have a stump here. I was wrong the first time around. But then what does it do to this area? Because then the road comes through here. And, well, it can immediately connect like this. But that leaves us with an unsolvable section because there is not enough room for the extra lots. So it would have to snake more, take up the extra space. But that's not possible. Like, if it was to go all the way down here, then it leaves us with a corner that cannot be turned into a lot. Like, the fact that this road comes in and out so close to each other makes this very limited in terms of what we can do. So maybe this is not where the stumps are. If this is not where the stumps are, like, from just trying those lots around, it does feel like, is there an option here where we put stumps in this section and still connect everything around? Because again, this is pretty tight here. Like, once we've exited here, we have to come back around, and that means there's never going to be room for stumps here around those exits. It would have to kind of awkwardly go around, but then it also can't fit spaces for stumps around the road. So is this basically untouched? Does this just have to stay like this because it doesn't fit anywhere else? But that means, yes, then me being like, oh, we can fit a lot in here was wrong. So this goes back to being this, and this is here. Okay, which would mean the stumps have to come from here. But that means, yes, once again, we need lots to deal with the fact that the flowers are coming from this side. So maybe there is a replacement in this middle section. Because we had to kind of make it awkward to fill it in with road. And this area is very limited because it requires lots on both sides because of the, again, preset pieces. So if there are stumps here, they're only in this middle section. So there is options for doing things like turn here and have up and down stumps. And then we would have to snake like this. But then this road doesn't have any stumps. Because we have to have, like, those two connections here, there would have to be two pairs of stumps because I don't see a version where there's only one road going through the middle, right? We have to connect to the left side and to the right side. But there is a room for two more stumps. If we do this and this, then the road can go here, and then both the middle connectors have flowers. And this then solves this corner and the middle, so that's all looking fine. But that means for those areas, because of this big lot, they are doing their own flowers, right? We're not having flowers come from this section. So like those two, N2 and N3, they can potentially be running on a single pair of stumps if we find the right combination. But then W4 has to either get its own pair of stumps or somehow find a connection with this section, although that might be complicated because of what's happening here unless like we start undoing all of this down here. So let's see the W4. Can we resolve it with just extra stumps somewhere? So it would have to be potentially a continuous road with just a hole somewhere. Because we have to fill in that top area, so then we can come through here. Could have potentially stumps here, but then what's next, right? How are we filling all of this and still getting to the exit? I mean, other options is we have stumps here, and then can we fill the rest? Actually, this looks like a good lot opportunity, and then we get two pairs of stumps? Like here and here? Okay, so this area needs to get two, and then both the out connectors are filled, and the area is good. Okay, now those two, like, I'm pretty sure those two are solved together because of how awkward they are space-wise. Actually, we had to do the little handle here to deal with the rows before, but now that we have stumps, we're able to basically perfectly fill that space when the roads are straight. So we get this and this. Cool. So we're just left with this end piece. This time I'm ending with the end piece rather than standing with the end piece. So that means it either has to be a continuous road with just a lot at the end, or there's going to be a lot and then additional stumps, right? Because we're forced into a lot here. Like, can it extend down enough and then the road snakes up to here? I'm pretty sure I've tried it when that was the original solution. And yeah, I don't think it works because there is still a spare. So there is a possibility that this has a lot and then another pair of trunks, and that's how it comes together. Because this could just be a tiny small lot, right? And then we just have road coming down. And then can snake to here, but that's too big for a lot because we won't be able to fill this. If we had a lot here, that would be a space for trunks, but then we have double trunks and this connection's broken. But then if we have trunks here, we can't turn this road into a snake and fill everything here. So what can we do to solve this? Oh, but I could just extend this lot, right? Silly me. And that then all connects on both ends and we have flowers in this section. Okay, well, that's mostly done then. We only have this 4 sections here. So we already have some flowers coming into here from that end lot we've done. 4 roads in between, because that has turned out to be pretty key for solving those things. Down here there are corners, but here there is a road like in between three tiles, right? So I'm kind of eyeing some trunks around here in corners potentially, but then we will need to disconnect from this road for that to work. And there is a lot up top, but we're not forced to connect to it. Could be 2 smaller lots. We'll see. So remove all this. This kind of looks like a UFO, just here to steal some forest. Okay, so options are, it feels like it's either this bottom section or this top section, because then we get corners filled. If we do it in the middle, either we get awkward corner down here or awkward corner up here, right? So that's not what we want. If we do it at the bottom, so we can snake around this stump and everything, but then we're gonna end up with an awkward corner here, right? Because even if we go around do this. Now it's broken because 2 flower stumps are meeting. We could go through the lot at the top again, as it was before. Right, but we get a hole. Either here or here. This could go further to this, but we still get a hole. Okay, let's try the stumps here then. I'm immediately suspicious about what's gonna go in here. So then we have room to snake like this. Then come up here like this. But yes, that will leave us again with this awkward corner. There is an option to go around like this. Oh, we can connect here to the lot, then connect like this, and then we get to keep all the stump flowers because the lot prevents them from connecting and removing all the flowers. Cool. It does feel like putting the trunks in different puzzle areas is like a key discovery you have to make here, because then since then, anytime that's shown up, it's been quite useful for figuring out what you need to do. So I'm glad I got that all figured out. But then yes, is this also working for this side, right? Because I made it work over there. Does it work here? Because this area needs a lot because it needs to terminate the road. So where would that lot be? I mean, 2x2 fits here, but the road won't connect to it. And also, there is potential for trunks here, right? Because this whole section currently is not getting any flowers. Because here is a disconnection. I doubt, because this area has 3 roads coming in and out, there will be a lot, and I assume therefore each of them needs to have their own trunks. Like, let's look at this, right? Because it means there have to be basically trunks we fit in here somewhere to make this work, to send something to the central area. And once again, I'm like testing my previous assumption that there are no trunks in the middle, because once again I'm like, oh, but there is a road in between. Is this finally the time that this happens, right? Because this works with just this one adjustment. But it depends on what's going to happen here, because it has to work with the roads and at least one lot. So the road will come up here, and there is an opportunity for it to snake, but then how does that work? It goes to a lot down here, potentially, bigger lot, so it has room. But I won't have room for both of those roads to connect. Because they are coming out in corners, they do feel like they have to come out to a road, right? They can't come out to a lot, because you can't connect to the corners of the lot. Which means, yes, what we had before here, where they both come in and there is a lot, That still feels good. Oh, because then actually, if this connects, we can just have a corner? Okay. Now this is looking like this works. So wrong about my original assumption. But that means this road coming out here, it has to get its stumps somewhere in those two sections. So here, definitely no opportunity to have the stumps in different puzzle areas because of them both being corners, which means they are self-contained in a single puzzle area. This one actually is fillable with just a single road, right? And then this one can go around like this and connect to a lot. And that solves them. But it doesn't give them trunks, right? Somewhere here, an alteration has to be made. Either a small adjustment or complete rebuild that adds a pair of stumps to this network. Because we just need the one. I think this is the last thing. Yes, I think we need at least one just pair of stumps fit into this area somewhere. Or two pairs in a lot. That would be a bigger rebuild. I mean, kind of obvious places to try is like, oh, where the road comes in, right? That gives us flowers. And then actually this up section works. We don't have to change it. But then we become the awkward, okay, what's next? We can snake around here, but then we got gaps. And it's not a prime, like, lot opportunity. Like, we can't have a lot here because it doesn't connect. We could have a lot here. That connects, and that connects, but again, gaps. That connects. Oh, and then stumps here and here? Yes, it is. You finally completed the forest. This time, tiling forest is truly over. I did it. I placed all of the flowers. If you made it this far, you're sure to enjoy Tiling Town as well. Please give us any feedback. And don't forget to wishlist. Yes, definitely already on my wishlist. So I think it's coming out like Q3 this year. So I'm excited for that. And I'm glad I managed to get all the flowers. So I expect to be seeing that in the main game as well, right? We're gonna solve something and then the game's gonna be like, oh, but what about this other more complicated thing? Because yeah, this was quite tricky. Obviously, due to editing, you've probably seen me do it as a lot more continuous and hopefully more cohesive thing, just showing how I get to the solutions. But trust me, this required a lot more trial and error than the original solution to the game. But yes, it's quite fun. It's quite fun to be thinking through those problems of like, okay, how does it fit? How can we make this work? And especially once you're having to start thinking across multiple areas, right? It's not just, oh, let's solve the single thing. Now we have to make sure the neighboring areas are all coming together. So yes, very fun. Looking forward to building a whole town out of the little tiles. So if you've enjoyed this one, if you're excited for this kind of games, make sure to wishlist Tiling Town and consider liking this video or subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.